I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sex.
The Prima Pramac Yamaha rider appeared with a completely different approach than in the previous session. From the start of FP2, TOPRAK looked much more confident from the first to the last sector. His trademark aggressive riding style began to reappear, especially when braking deeply before entering the tight Sachsenring corners. The most surprising thing was his increased speed. Compared to the previous day's performance, TOPRAK was able to significantly reduce his lap time. He appeared more comfortable changing direction in the series of left-hand corners, which had previously been a major challenge for Yamaha. Many paddock observers began to notice this change. Telemetry showed that TOPRAK was more willing to open the throttle earlier when exiting corners. The Yamaha YZR M1 also appeared more stable, preventing him from losing as much time in the previously weak sectors. These changes were certainly no coincidence. It is highly likely that the Pramac Yamaha team, along with its engineers, have found a new setup that better suits TOPRAK's riding style. Several adjustments to the suspension, weight distribution, and electronic settings are thought to have made the bike much easier to control. What piqued the interest of many was TOPRAK's decision to run out on used tires several times, before finally putting on new ones near the end of the session. This strategy demonstrated that the team wasn't just chasing lap times, but also gathering crucial data for the sprint race simulation and the main race. TOPRAK's increased speed also indicated that his adaptation to MotoGP was beginning to progress. After struggling to understand the characteristics of Michelin tires and the MotoGP prototype bike for several races, the Turkish rider was now starting to find the rhythm he had been searching for. Although the FP2 results still placed other riders as the fastest, TOPRAK's improved performance was one of the most interesting stories throughout the session. He showed that the gap to the top riders was starting to narrow, a positive sign for Yamaha and Pramac heading into qualifying and the sprint race. Here's the full news. The Prima Pramac Yamaha rider showed something completely different compared to the previous practice session. While in FP1 he still appeared cautious and lost some time in the second sector, the situation changed drastically in FP2. TOPRAK appeared much more confident from the first lap out of pit lane. He immediately established a stable rhythm and began posting lap times that steadily improved. This change surprised many. In just a few hours, TOPRAK had been able to significantly alter his racing approach. His trademark aggressive corner entry style began to reappear. He braked very late, maintained speed mid-corner, and then opened the throttle early on corner exit. This technique is a characteristic that has brought him success in World SBK for years. What was most interesting was how Yamaha seemed to be able to provide a bike that was much more suited to TOPRAK's riding style. In previous races, the Turkish rider had often complained about the front end not feeling confident when entering left-hand corners. This problem prevented him from braking as aggressively as he did in superbike racing. However, at the Sachsenring, the situation appeared different. The YZR M1 looked significantly more stable. In several fast corners, TOPRAK no longer appeared to be overcorrecting. Even when the tires began to degrade, he was still able to maintain consistent lap times. Paddock observers began to suspect that Yamaha had introduced new settings that had not been used before. Several small changes to the bike's geometry, weight distribution, and electronics were believed to be the main factors behind TOPRAK's rapid performance improvement. Furthermore, television cameras repeatedly showed Yamaha engineers engaged in intense discussions after each run. TOPRAK was also seen providing quite detailed feedback to his technicians. This indicated that the FP2 session was not simply about chasing the fastest time, but also about gathering as much data as possible in preparation for the sprint race and the main race. The next surprise came when TOPRAK decided to employ a different strategy than most other riders. While many riders immediately installed new tires to chase the best time, TOPRAK instead spent longer on used tires. This approach allowed Yamaha to gain important data on tire degradation and bike stability in actual race conditions. After installing the new tires at the end of the session, his speed improvement was immediately apparent. His lap times improved significantly, and he managed to narrow the gap to the leading group. Although not yet the fastest rider overall, this improved performance has led many to believe that TOPRAK's adaptation to MotoGP is progressing much faster than previously thought. The Sachsenring itself is a very unique circuit. More left-hand corners than right-hand corners require riders to have a high level of confidence in the front end of the bike. Over the past few seasons, this characteristic has been one of Yamaha's biggest challenges. Therefore, every small improvement achieved on this circuit is significant. TOPRAK seems to be starting to understand how to maximize the Yamaha's characteristics. He no longer forces the bike as he did on superbikes. Instead, he has begun to adapt his riding style to MotoGP characteristics without losing his trademark aggressiveness. Many analysts have also noticed a change in TOPRAK's corner exit. While previously the rear wheel often lost traction, causing the bike to appear to drift slightly, this time his acceleration appears much cleaner. This indicates that the traction control and engine braking settings have likely been refined. This development is certainly encouraging news for Yamaha. Since the start of the season, the Japanese manufacturer has been working hard to catch up with Ducati, which remains the benchmark in MotoGP. TOPRAK's presence is expected to usher in a new direction for development thanks to his experience and distinct riding style compared to other Yamaha riders. During the FP2 session, TOPRAK was seen several times keeping pace with the riders in the front group. Although he ultimately opted to return to the pits for evaluation, his ability to maintain a distance from the fastest riders demonstrated his growing confidence. Many observers considered this to be one of TOPRAK's best performances of the entire 2026 German MotoGP weekend. This was not only due to his improved lap time, but also because his handling of the bike appeared much better. His calm. He no longer seems to be pushing the bike in every corner, but is instead beginning to understand the limits of the YZR M1's capabilities. This situation certainly raises high hopes ahead of qualifying. If Yamaha manages to find even a little more speed, it's possible TOPRAK could compete for a better starting position. Starting from the front row would be a significant advantage, given that the Sachsenring is a circuit that's quite difficult to overtake. However, the real challenge still lies ahead. The sprint race and main race will test whether the performance improvements are consistent over the full race distance. Single lap speed is important, but maintaining a competitive tire until the final lap is a much more difficult task.